Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be doing a review of two different books, and the reason why I'm reviewing these books together is because one of them I don't have a whole lot to say about, and the other one I really loved, and they're both library books that I have to return, so they're going to be put together. Woo! So these two books are these books, and I read them for my Bout of Books 8.0 readathon participation, yes. So this is The Ask and the Answer by Patrick Ness, and this is Mr. Penumbra's 24-hour bookstore by Sloan. Let's start with The Ask and the Answer. So, and correct me if I get any of this wrong, but this is The Ask and the Answer by Patrick Ness, which is the second book in the Chaos Walking series, of which there is 3 books. I got that wrong a little while back. I thought there was a 4th book, but there's not. There's just 3 books. And the first book is called The Knife of Never Letting Go. And I was a little disappointed by this book. And I want to preempt this by saying that everyone has their own opinion about books, and I like to share my opinion only because I think that if we only share the same opinion, then it becomes really streamlined and you don't really get any discussion about books, and people who are trying to buy books only think that there's one voice about it, and there's just multiple voices. So my voice, this book was really depressing for me, and maybe it's something where I don't like sad books or really discouraging books, and this book was. I was really hoping that after the first book that it was going to be a bit more uplifting. I really wanted just a little bit of happiness, and I felt like every time something good happened, it was followed by something bad happening. And I don't want to give away any spoilers, and that's not to say that there isn't any hope or redemption in this book, but it was pretty discouraging. I did really enjoy the plot and the characters. In this book, you're introduced to a second main voice, and I thought that was awesome. I really enjoyed it, and I was hoping that that would kind of direct the plot in a new direction, but it didn't. I really like the main character, Todd. He's a really good voice, and he's very human, and that's something that I did enjoy, and I felt like you were able to, it was very realistic. You were able to see how a normal human being might deal with the situation. And there were just a few times that I just didn't agree with how he reasoned and saw a situation, but I think that's because he's kind of like a teenage boy, and so his understanding and motivation might be different than mine, on top of which he lives in a completely different world than I do, so you just don't know. But overall, what I liked best about this book were the characters and the plot. I really did enjoy what happens in the book and how it happens, but at the same time, the biggest flaw for me is it just needed a little bit more hope. And maybe in the 3rd book there is that hope, but honestly, I've read 2 giant books so far, and I haven't gotten to that point. So yeah, I rated this 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, which is to say I liked it, but it was a struggle to read. Yes, still, if you enjoy the idea of this plot, I don't want to give away any of the overall plot, so check my review of The Ask and the Answer out for kind of a gist of the plot line. But if you enjoy that sort of book, please check it out. Just be prepared for what you're getting into. Moving on. We have Mr. Penumbra's 24-hour bookstore by Sloan, and I love this book. And it was surprisingly shorter than I thought it was going to be, but it was just awesome. And I think one of the biggest things I liked about it, one of the things I liked about it was how uplifting it was. And every time I thought something was going to go wrong, it somehow turned out well, and even the ending wasn't what I thought it was going to be or what I necessarily hoped for, and yet I was still okay with it. This book is about Clay, and Clay is a very relatable character to me, coming from living in the same sort of economic era. He has lost his job where he worked for a bagel company, and he did ads for them. He worked on their website and things like that, and he loses his job, and so he's stuck looking for another job that he is overqualified for. Anyways, he ends up at Mr. Penumbra's 24-hour bookstore, working there on the night shift, and Mr. Penumbra is so awesome. Like, he's this old man who has a lot of character but some mystery to him, and so he was a really enjoyable character. And then you get to meet a whole host of other characters that come into the bookstore, and Clay's friends and the people he meets, and it was really well done, on top of which there's a bunch of peculiarities in the bookstore that Clay kind of starts to discover, and it kind of leads to some mystery, and overall it just kind of transforms the book, and I just loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I would recommend it to anyone. As I said in my Goodreads review, there's just the tiniest bit of adult content. Anyways, yeah, check it out. So these are the 2 books. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please let me know what you thought of these books, if you've read them. If you haven't read them, please let me know if you plan on reading them. And yeah, I'm excited that I read this one because it was a chunk of a book, and I'm excited I read this one because it's something I've been wanting to read for a while. So I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful day.